Hi there. My name is Julia Salcido, and I'm a student with Grand Canyon University. I will be receiving my master's degree in early childhood education in June. The question was posed: how has my teaching philosophy developed and grown throughout my student teaching? Well, I come from a preschool background, and I believe that students should be active in their learning. My favorite quote comes from Albert Einstein: play is the highest form of research. I believe that in early childhood education, children can be active and engaged in learning through the use of play. My philosophy has developed and grown and strengthened throughout my experience at Grand Canyon University and in my student teaching experience. In my first 8 weeks of student teaching, I was in a preschool class where there was free play and exploration. Teachers facilitated as children explored with manipulatives and sensory exploration. And as I moved on from preschool and went into kindergarten, um, I knew that there would be have to be a lot more structure and in the centers and on carpet time, and that was going to be more teacher directed. My philosophy leans more towards a Reggio practice, where centers in a classroom are student directed and children are free to roam the class and be active participants. And lesson plans are created with student interests in mind. Going into a kindergarten class changed my perspective. I realized that having 24 children in one class where there's only one teacher was going to change how I would have to teach and how I was going to structure my classroom. I grew in my knowledge of the standards for kindergarten and now know that my philosophy would incorporate more of the teacher led centers. While I still hold dear to the student directed activities, um, I do now believe that there can be some balance of the two. I can have two centers that are student directed, and the rest would be managed by teachers and volunteers so that my students can meet grade level standards and assessments can be taken. Through student teaching, I have seen the importance of having a well organized and structured class, especially for teachers in kinder through third grade. I need to ensure that my students know the boundaries, routines, and rules of the classroom environment so that they become independent and responsible students who are a part of the school community that I am building. Um, Using technology, that was another question posed. Using technology can be used to create better learning opportunities for all students. The way that this can be done is through the use of things like Boom Cards, which is an interactive site that students and teachers can engage with. Also using YouTube to use videos that are developmentally appropriate and have movement songs for young children to engage with and dance along to. YouTube is also a visual for students who are English language learners and need visual representation of words and pictures to learn the English language. Using an iPad is another avenue that I can use for students to play educational games on. Our students are growing up in a tech based environment, and we as teachers need to foster that in a way that's academically and developmentally appropriate. Lastly, I believe that it is extremely important for teachers to have a passion for working with children in the early childhood education field. I have the compassion that a teacher needs in order to work with children and their families. I believe that promoting a safe and engaging environment for children to feel free to learn is helpful in expanding their little minds, bodies, and spirit. In my future classroom, I will ensure that my students and their families feel a sense of equality and equity. In my Christian view, I feel that I need to pour out the love of God that lives in me. I know that I have a moral obligation to treat my students with dignity and respect always, because that is how Christ treated others. We are called to love one another. That's one of the greatest commands Jesus left to us. And that should be prevalent in our classrooms as well. I will always do my very best to show the love of Christ to my students, the families, and the staff that I work alongside with. God bless and thank you for the opportunity to share this video.